Hey boys, welcome to some more NRL real life talk discussions, and of course we're going to be reviewing Game 2 of the State of Origin series. And as much as it hurts me and it pains me to say the New South Wales have won the series, and as much as I do hate it and I was very angry after the game, I'm not as mad as I usually am. Even obviously I've had it pretty good lately, and every Queenslander has, because we've won a lot of series. But even when we've won the series, losing the one-off game and stuff is very annoying. But this year was a bit different because the Blues team I don't hate as much as previous years. There's still a couple of guys that I don't like, but overall the team isn't as bad. It's not as grubby and all that. So yeah, it's not as bad, but it still hurts. So yeah, congratulations to the Blues. I'm not even gonna say they deserved it, but Game 2 especially, I think Queensland were the better team. Now obviously, obviously I'm a Queenslander, so the caveat is that I'm gonna be biased. There's no way I'm not gonna be a little bit biased. I try to be as, fair in my discussions as possible, but there's always going to be slight bias whenever you talk about teams that you go for. So that's a little bit of the tidbit there for anyone watching this. What are you talking about? So that's that. But first off, what was I going to say? It was a good game. There was one thing I was gonna bring up first. I can't think of what it was, but yeah. Unfortunately, the biggest issue for the Queensland team was, and I'm not just jumping on the bandwagon after it's happened. I said this for the preview for Game 2, and I said this for the preview for Game 1, that I didn't think Ben Hunt should be the halfback. I think Cherry Evans should have been the halfback. Now even with Cherry Evans, I saw the odd one out. I actually put Ash Taylor is going to be the next halfback, and yeah, he's actually been playing really good lately. He is. I wouldn't be surprised if next year, if he continues his form, he'll get a shot. But yeah, Queensland have some good options for halfback, and I really didn't think Ben Hunt should have been halfback. It just didn't make sense to me, because Cameron Munster is not an organizer. He was one of our best once again. Cameron Munster is an absolute weapon, but he's not an organizer, and he's not really a fantastic kicker either. He's a guy, plays off the cuff, runs the ball strongly, and he's strong defensively. Ben Hunt he's not really an organizer either, and he's not a good kicker. So, and he's similar to Munster. He plays off the cuff, but you don't want two guys like that. You need a dominant half there, and Ben Hunt is not that. And it was very frustrating watching that game, because like I said, I actually thought Maroons played better. I thought for the full game there was brief moments where New South Wales definitely played better and they were on top, but I thought for the majority of the game Queensland looked stronger. I thought they were more aggressive in defense again, and I really there are a couple of controversial. Actually, the first thing I was going to talk about is, this is just a little bit. I actually hate Gus Gould with such a passion. It almost makes watching the game unbearable, because of just how biased and hypocritical he is. It actually blows my mind. And this isn't even talking about the penalty tries. Personally, I didn't think those were bad decisions. One, I thought the Boyd Corner one was a penalty try, and I was actually happy that they awarded it, because if they didn't, it would have been 10 minutes for Ben Hunt. So one, I thought it was a good decision for Queensland, and it was the right decision. And then in the second half, the fairly similar, but Trebojevic was there to back up. Cooper was not going to get to that ball first, so I thought both of those decisions were fine. But just Gus Gould, I just hate him. I just hate him with an absolute passion. He's just so annoying. A big example, right? and I thought this was a terrible decision, was Will Chambers picking up and dumping Maloney. That was not a penalty. That was not a penalty. Now, in NRL, round-to-round footy, yeah, they penalise that a fair bit. I still think it's not a penalty. I think it's a tough call and stuff, but regular NRL round-to-round football, yeah, they penalise those all the time. But Gus was so adamant. He was carrying on like an idiot, saying he's leaning on his head, that's a penalty, blah, blah, blah. You kept looking at the replays and you're like, he hasn't really landed on his head. He's landing on his side, and his head's hit the ground, obviously, because that's what happens. But this is State of Origin. I can just picture it in my head. If that was the opposite, he would be carrying on that this is State of Origin football. How is that a penalty? It actually made me so mad, and it was 100% not a penalty. It was a big moment, but that wasn't where we lost it. We lost it with Ben Hunt's kicking the ball dead, and also just not taking control when we had the advantage. That's basically it. So other than that, let's sort of go through the players. That I've actually got the NRL.com website up here, and they had the player ratings. So I'll go through the player ratings, see what I thought, and I'll give my opinions on them. So Billy Slater, they gave an 8 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. Probably he could have even scored like a 9 out of 10. He was almost perfect. Like, he was incredible in his return. Like, I don't remember him making a mistake, or yeah, he was outstanding. Valentine Holmes, 7.5. This could probably be a bit higher. I honestly think he should have an 8.5 or 9. Like, Holmes again was faultless, and he looked dangerous every time he touched the ball. Like, some of his runs were outstanding. Greg Inglis, 7.5. I think that's pretty fair. Inglis wasn't. He was good. He was very solid, but he didn't seem quite as fired up as the first game. Didn't really seem too much in defense. But he was good. Like, he was very good. There was no real errors. I mean, Roberts really hadn't. Again, Roberts wasn't that good either. Like, Inglis just sort of didn't dominate him. But they both sort of cancelled each other out a fair bit in that game. Will Chambers, 6.5. I think that's fairly. Yeah, I think that's fairly. It could even be a bit lower. I know he did score a try, but yeah, I mean, he let Mitchell just score a very soft try, and I know they carry on like Mitchell is unstoppable, but what the, he's going for a legs tackle when he's a meter out from the try line. That's actually ridiculous. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He made the tackle, but obviously he was just going to fall over and score. You had to go up high, risk getting bumped off, but he had to try to go for the ball. Like, it was. And then again, he goes for Chambers. He just has a bad habit of kicking the ball, just these little grubber kicks. Sometimes they pay off, but most times they don't. So yeah, Will Chambers, bit of a shocker again in my opinion. Dane Gagai, 7. I thought that's pretty fair. I thought he was pretty good. Another contentious decision. I actually thought his try was a try. I know they showed this. They showed the two replays side by side, but they actually I think it was Sterling said in the com box that they weren't synced. Anyone watch someone that doesn't really follow the game super close, they would look at those side by side and be like, yeah, he's obviously out. The ball, you can see in this replay, the ball's up and his legs on the line, but they said in the com box and you could tell that they weren't synced up. I don't know why they showed that. Obviously the bunker were syncing them up and stuff in their little technology, but looking at the replays, it looked like he just got it in, and I thought the ref went up with try. I thought benefit of the doubt should have gone with Gagai. I know that's sort of a 50-51, but I thought, Queensland is sort of, they haven't really got any 50-50s this series, which hasn't helped, and I thought that was one where it didn't really matter. That one wasn't a big deal because they did score very quickly after, but it was just sort of, we really had the momentum at that point, so it was a bit of a blue. Cameron Munster, they gave a 6.5. What? Cameron Munster was one of our best. They do say here his kicking options were poor, and yeah, his kicking game wasn't great, but yeah, the rest of his game was outstanding. So I think that's a little harsh. Ben Hunt 5, I think probably could be a little lower, honestly. You know, he only made a few errors, but the errors were massive, and it wasn't just the errors. Like, he did have a couple of nice runs and stuff like that, but it was just his lack of ability to, and he's shown it throughout his career now. The big moments, he just can't deal with the big moments. I know people are sort of comparing him to Mitchell Pearce. I don't think Queensland are going to stick with him like Mitchell Pearce, and I God hope they don't. Jared Wallace, a 4. I think that's pretty fair. I don't understand Wallace. I don't understand. Wallace did this last year in the Origin as well. Like, he barely touches the ball at all. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Wallace, but, you know, he's a good player. He's a really good player in club footy, but he just doesn't get his hands on the footy when it comes to Origin. I know sometimes, like, it can be a little deceiving because, you know, a couple of times I saw him, he was throwing the ball out the back to a playmaker, and sometimes the ball just doesn't go to you, but as a prop, like, you've just got to just take those tough runs. Like, there's plenty of times where he could have got involved. Andrew McCulloch is 7. I thought was pretty good. You know, I'm interested to see what they give Damien Cook, because if they give Cook much higher than McCulloch, I think that's a bit ridiculous, because I didn't think Cook had much of an impact either, so I think 7's fairly fair. Dylan Napper is 6. I thought he was a bit better than that. I thought he was very strong. You know, he's a guy that really, like, he's just so good to watch. Man, oh man, he's just, some of his big hits don't come off, obviously, but he just has that in him, and he takes those tough runs. I mean, he got belted a couple of times, but he gives it off. He takes the tough runs. I thought he was strong. Gavin Cooper 6.5. Again, he was okay, but again, I just don't understand, and I'll talk about this a bit. Well, I'll talk about it right now, actually. Cooper plays 80 minutes on the edge, and he provides, like, no impact. I just don't understand it. Like, Cooper 6.5, he just doesn't provide any impact. He's been terrible for the Cowboys all year, but he still has an 80-minute game in Origin. But then you have guys like Papali, Hess, Arrow on the bench who barely got any game time. And honestly, they're all better than Gavin Cooper. Papali, the thing that is so weird to me, Papali plays 80 minutes on an edge for the Raiders. He's played that for, like, the last few years. He's played a bit of lock this year, but he's mainly played on the edge for 80 minutes for the Raiders, and I just don't understand why Papali doesn't start on an edge. He's better in defense, he's a much stronger ball carrier, and he has more creative abilities with offloads and passing before the line than Cooper. And in game 1, Papali was outstanding. In this game, he barely got any minutes, and I mean, Walters brought him on when Queensland were under the pump in defense. So some of the interchange play was just unreal. I just couldn't understand it. Felice Kafusi is 7. He was good. I thought he was pretty solid. He's definitely going to be a player for a long time. You know, the back row, if Gillette was here, I'd say Kafusi and Gillette would make a pretty solid pairing there. Maguire, a 6. I thought he was pretty good. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think he did too much wrong, and he was one of the better guys. I don't know what happened though. He played, like, again, this is a weird one. Like, he played so much in a row, but then he didn't come back on at all when he's, like, one of our best forwards. So I don't know. Just the subs were just so confusing to me. Now we get to the pick. Kalen Ponga. They give him a 7.5. I mean, they say here early with Ponga conceding a penalty and a 6 again call that led to Blues tries. A bit rough, I feel. He was incredible. Ponga was actually incredible. He could have got like a 9, in my opinion. His defense was actually outstanding. He came on as a forward and he was in everything. I looked at the stats and he ran for 100 meters, right? He made 29 tackles and he also, like, probably a couple of tackle breaks. He obviously made a line break and he threw a few nice passes as well. Like, his defense was incredible. And it wasn't just the hit, like, idiot commentators, like, I don't understand what they watch sometimes, in all honesty. Obviously, it was the hit from Ponga that winded Trbojevic, but they were carrying on that somehow Maguire grabbing Trebojevic's waist and sort of dragging him, that was the thing that I just don't understand what they watch sometimes. But not even like that hit, like just his defense in general. Like every time he was up out of the line and he was driving players back. I remember a tackle on Latrell Mitchell, the unstoppable wonder kid that they love so much. He picked him up and just drove him back with another play almost into the goal. Like, Ponga's defense blew my mind. Like, I thought it was going to be a risk bringing him on, but he was better in defense than basically any of the other forwards. It's unreal. And then in attack, I mean, you could tell he was tiring, but I mean, he made that line break at the end. I thought he was going to score. I thought he was going to do the big right foot step and just burn Tedesco, but he tried to take him around the corner. I thought he should have tried to step him, but man, how good was he? He was actually incredible. Like, throw him, honestly, like, put him into the halves. I'm sure he could do it. Like, he's got the kicking ability. He can do anything. He can actually do anything. Wow. I was actually in shock at how good he was. Kalen Ponga. Josh Papali, a 5. You know, it's probably fair because, I mean, he played no minutes and he didn't really get to run the ball too much. So, yeah, I don't understand what Walters was doing with the interchange. Cohen Hess, 5. Again, he came on so late. He looked actually pretty dangerous in attack, but again, he was barely used. Jai Arrow, he got a 6. I thought that's a bit unfair. He was incredibly good when he came off the bench. Again, Arrow should be playing way more minutes. He's probably one of the strongest hitters in defense for us, and just technically probably the best defender in the pack. And then, like, his ability to offload, his strong carries. Like, he's a guy that just doesn't get taken to ground easily. He's always got that drive in him. And again, why wasn't he given more time? Like, you got these 3 guys and Cooper plays 80 minutes. It just blows my mind. Yeah, so that's sort of the Queensland team. Now let's look at the Blues team. Obviously, all these are probably going to be inflated a bit because they won, but we'll see. So, yeah, my overall thoughts about the game. This video is going to go on forever, but, you know, that's fine. Like I said, I thought Queensland were the stronger team, but, yeah, just didn't get it done. So let's see here. Tedesco, they give a 7. They're probably pretty fair. I didn't really notice Tedesco that much. In the first game, he was, you know, he cut Queensland to shreds, but this game I didn't really see too much from him. Trbojevic a 7. Yeah, he I think that's a bit high. Yeah, he came up with a couple of decent one-on-one tackles, but him and Roberts were terrible in defense when they went to their side. I thought Queensland could have scored a lot more tries. He got lucky with one knockdown, and then the second try, he just came up for no reason. And that's another thing that it just blows my mind about Gus. Like, obviously Gus loves Trbojevic, and I don't know if he's not a big fan of Roberts or not, but like the try that Holmes scored where Trbojevic was just in no man's land and he came in, Gus was carrying on like it was Roberts' fault because he was sort of inside and he gave Inglis the outside, and he was like, well, you know, Roberts, he left him open, so, you know, Trbojevic had to come in. He was like literally blaming Roberts when it was clearly Trebojevic's fault. Like, you would obviously trust that Roberts can have the speed to match Inglis. He might get palmed off, but it was obviously Trebojevic's fault, and that's just another thing that Gus Gill, he's so clearly in love with Trbojevic. It was like, no, that was all Trebojevic's fault. So I thought Tom had a pretty bad game. He got shown up in defense a few times, but yeah. Latrell Mitchell, a 7. He did get, again, I think this is too high. Like, he was very ordinary in defense as well. He obviously came up with that one hit that, of course, they loved. Gus just loved it. And, you know, he did score a try, but other than that, like, you know, him and Adokar, again, like, you know, they could have scored more tries down that side, but, and I talked about this before the game, like my Game 2 preview, that I thought attacked out wide more, and they almost did it. I thought they should have, but again, like, the halves just didn't get the ball out cleanly enough, so, yeah. James Roberts, 4.5, I think that's pretty rough. Like, I don't really understand that. I mean, he did get sin binned, but like he contained Greg Inglis pretty well for most of the night. So yeah, I don't know, a bit rough. Adokar, 6.5, pretty fair. I don't think Adokar was too good. He did score a try, but you know, he was okay. James Maloney, an 8. He was probably, I don't know, he was probably more, like, he didn't do anything terrible this game like the first game, but I don't, like, he wasn't that good. Like, I don't think the halves for New South Wales were very good either. Like, I thought Munster was really good, Ben Hunt was terrible, Maloney was decent, and then Cleary, well, he got a 6.5, and I thought he was pretty ordinary as well. He did make that one tackle on Holmes late in the game, so of course that's sort of the thing that's remembered. But other than that, like, I didn't think he was that good. David Clemmer, 5.5. Yeah, he was, you know, not that good. He was okay. Like, sort of a lot of the forwards just didn't really have too much impact, and that, you know, a lot of Origin games are sort of like that, where both forward packs are really up and in. Like, it's, you know, both teams are offside, so it's hard for forwards to really get momentum going. So, you know, Damien Cook, 7. So, okay, that's pretty fair. They got McCulloch and Cook both 7s. I think that's fair. Cook didn't really do too much in attack. He did have like one run, but other than that, like, Queensland's defense was way better. So, yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Matt Pryor, 5. Again, I think it's pretty fair. I don't think he was that good. He was okay. Boyd Cordner, 7. Again, probably pretty fair. Like, he was okay. He did get the penalty try, where he probably would have scored, so fair enough. Just solid. You know, Cordner is a solid player. I did like it when he got absolutely wrecked by Jai Arrow, and then he also got wrecked by Dylan Napa with the hip. That was enjoyable to watch. Tyson Frizzell, a 7. I don't like Frizzell at all. He was one that came running in with the swinging arm on Chambers when Chambers did nothing wrong, and the rest were going to play on, but because he ran in and caused an issue, that's when they penalised Queensland, which actually blows my mind because it wasn't a penalty. Frizzell should have got penalised, but yeah, I don't understand. Jack DeBellin, an 8. Yeah, he was solid in defence. He you know, he's a good hitter. He's a very good hitter, so he was good. Paul Vaughan, 7.5. I don't understand this 7.5. I didn't really see Paul Vaughan at all. I mean, I didn't think he played too much game time, but I don't think he was anything special when he was on there. So that's a little weird. Jake Trbojevic, 7.5. Yeah, he was good. Nothing special. Again, I thought Queensland's forwards v New South Wales forwards, I thought Queensland probably it was pretty even. Being biased, I'd probably say Queensland forwards had it a touch over them, but it was even. It was fairly even. So it's all pretty similar. Angus Crichton, a 6. Again, I didn't really see him too much. So yeah, another one of those bench forwards that didn't get too much game time. And then Tyrone Peachey, a 4. Again, probably pretty fair. I know he came on pretty late. I didn't really do too much. So that's pretty much that. So yeah, New South Wales have won the series, unfortunately. Yeah, what else can we say? Queensland, I don't think it's going to be New South Wales domination. I think Queensland have a lot of good young players coming through. Kalen Ponga, clear cut. But also Ash Taylor in the halves with Cameron Munster. Or if they try, Cherry Evans again. But that's my thoughts. What do you guys think? What do you think? How did people go? And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.